You're watching BattleCast Primetime. Coming up, all about the crawler. Our dev team walks you through your new mobile home in Birth of a Unit. Bender is back on BattleCast Primetime. Jason Bender answers your questions in Ask a Developer. And as always, APOC is in his corner, an action-packed BattleCast 10, and a Clan Wars main event featuring an East meets West worldwide brawl as BattleCast Primetime starts now. You're logged in to BattleCast Primetime. I'm Raj Joshi. And at my side is our special guest host back for another round. Leader of the Brotherhood himself, actor Joe Kucan.
How's it going, guys? Hey, Raj, thank you and your huge asymmetrical head for having me back. I appreciate it. What's going on?
It's my left side's pleasure to have you on the show with us again.
I'm glad I'm sitting on this side then.
As we all saw last month, you were with us in Germany.
Yeah, good time.
How was Gamescom for you?
I had a great time. Met a lot of the fans. I had a great time. Those of you that I met in Germany, nice to see you again. Thank you so much for taking the time to say hello. It was good to meet everybody, and it was the first time I got to see the game, so that was fun too.
That's awesome. Well, we're very glad to have you back here with us again.
I'm very glad to be had.
And we're also glad to have Jason Bender back to be on BattleCast Primetime once again in a very special edition of Ask a Developer. Take it away, Jason.
Hi everybody, I'm Jason Bender, lead designer on Command & Conquer 4. Some of you might remember me from the CNC3 BattleCast Primetime. I'm back. I've decided to throw Greg in the dungeon. I'm taking the show back, so you won't see him for a while then. I've been working on Command & Conquer 4 all this time, in case you were curious, and I'm excited to know that we've got the Ask a Developer section back on the forums, and so we're going to take a look at some of these questions and give you some answers. Commander T, he says, based on feedback from CommandCom and the forums, have we rethought any of our design features, and if so, which ones? We went to CommandCom with a bunch of questions of our own, and we had some incredibly brilliant discussions with everybody we had there in Cologne, Germany. One of the things we wanted to make sure was that when you lost your crawler or when you lost your units, was it meaningful, or were you just suiciding all your units? So we've looked pretty hard at our core gameplay to say, okay, we know that some people are pretty frugal with their units, they're great microers, they know that everything you have on the battlefield with veterancy all the time is really important, but there was a tendency among some players to just get their troops, send them out there and just build more. We've been looking at the core mechanics of the game in such a way that we want to reward you for knocking out other people's crawlers, and we want to not so much penalize, but make sure that your crawler being on the field is really important. Same with the units. So no more of this cannon fodder sort of human wave tactic of just throw your tanks out there and get them killed. Microing your units and keeping them alive will be really important. Wolf writes, with the whole 10-unit pop cap in 5v5 matches, how will the defense class be able to win if they only train 10 infantry? So there's a couple questions here to answer. One of them is sort of the 10-unit pop cap. It's not actually 10-unit for everybody. The pop cap varies depending on what you're building. You can have a bunch of smaller units or a few larger ones. It's usually more than 10. Defense does have fewer units though. It should be noted that their infantry are not weak. Their infantry are each as strong as a light vehicle or a medium vehicle in some cases. All of our GDI guys are wearing cool, bad dude power armor. Nod is really leaning into cybernetics. So we've upped the power in each of the infantry. So they're really able to do some damage. Infantry can do a couple of other things that nobody else can do. They can use garrison buildings, they can jump into transports. That makes them more effective when you're out on the field. But you shouldn't forget that defense also has structures. Actually, of all three classes, they're probably the most dangerous, in as much as they can build a bunch of structures and a bunch of units. Their ability to put damage down on the battlefield is actually a lot higher than anyone else's. The main key is that those structures don't move, so they can't very well attack you with them unless they're sort of tower creeping, which is one way to use your crawler. So don't worry about defense, they've got quite a lot of damage coming your way. Will there be functions like follow, patrol, scatter, and formation? So we have a couple of different ways to use your units, but one thing that we're adding is the ability to automatically follow. So if you have an engineer who's a healer, and this is true with other healers as well, you can right-click on a friendly or allied unit, and that healer will just follow them around the entire time. They'll preferentially heal that unit that you've clicked on, but if anything else around is damaged and that one's fully healed, they will heal those guys too. So if I'm playing as a class that has a couple extra healers and I don't want to worry about microing them, and you're playing, say, someone on offense, I can just dedicate one of my healers to one of your battle groups. As long as you don't get him killed, he's going to be around to heal all your guys until I come and get him. Thanks for watching this month's Ask a Developer. If you have any more questions about the game, which I'm sure you do, go to cnc.com, check out our forums, and put them in the Ask a Developer section, and we'll get right back to you. In the meantime, back to you, Raj and Joe.
Hey, thanks, Jason. And thank you guys for your questions. You keep them coming. Get your shot to have them answered live on BattleCast Primetime. And now, my personal favorite part of the show, it's time for the BattleCast 10.
Sweet! Normally my line, but hey.
Our first Kane's Wrath match features Krunk and I Am OP in a GDI mirror on tournament decision. Both players follow similar 2 refinery builds, but OP shakes things up by setting up 3 airfields in the northwest corner. Keeping Krunk's units at bay from the air, OP lives up to his name and overpowers Krunk's starting base with a powerful ground armada, but Krunk's got an ace in the hole. A Marv, his epic unit, makes quick work of OP's tank force, then moves around the side of the map to hit OP's expansion. After that, it's a quick cleanup for Krunk as he shows OP the power of the epic unit against overwhelming odds.
In Red Alert 3, Zero Pones takes on Fiery Winds on Fire Island. Both players lead with infantry, but when Fiery Winds comes out on top, Zero moves to the water and starts working on controlling the skies. With a few Vindicators in the air and some help from Cryogeddon, Zero manages to find and eliminate Fiery Wind's nanotech mainframe, while back at his base he defends from mecha units with a mass of rocket troops. But when Fiery Winds gets another mainframe and techs up to King Oni's, Zero finds himself outgunned. So what's he gonna do? Full court press! Zero sends every infantry unit he's got left into both sides of Fiery Wind's base, and actually manages to clear out all the mechas. It's a come-from-behind victory for Zero!
In CNC3, it's Moonlight versus EA Owns You on Tournament Arena. It's identical builds, but Moonlight's got the southern expansion uncontested. And despite this, it's EA Owns who strikes first. His waves of tanks breaking on Moonlight's base. A second wave, backed by Harvesters, manages to clear out nearly the entire starting base. Until Moonlight sells off some key structures and clears out the force with missile squads. He starts the advance. But EA Owns has a third wave at the ready, taking out all but one of Moonlight's structures. Will he manage to hit the last one? No! Moonlight's missile squads take out the third wave and then advance on EA Owns' base. It's another great feat of infantry micro, courtesy of Moonlight.
Back to Red Alert 3, it's Lex versus Nara in an allied mirror for control on Fire Island. Both players hit the PK rush, each eliminating the other's base. But before Lex can set up shop, Nara comes back and chases Lex from the island with some great MCV micro protecting his infantry force. While his opponent tries to get his economy up and running on the ocean, Nara works at controlling the skies. With the air locked down, Nara goes for the jugular and puts up 2 naval yards right outside Lex's base. But he's quickly chased out by dolphins, so both players poke and prod each other with assault destroyers and Athena cannons, aircraft carriers and sentry bombers, until Lex manages to clear the skies and get Apollos in the air. With this control, he can get cryocopters out, and soon it's clear skies to the wind for Lex. His air assault force can't be beat, and that's GG for Nara.
Our number 6 match between Unleashed and Mr. MC shows the power of letting your opponent wear himself out. With a resource advantage and first strike capabilities, Unleashed hits MC from every side, over and over again with the same Predator tank missile squad combo. But even though he's got the MC Southern expansion all tied up, Unleashed can't make inroads into the starting base because MC's got a powerful tripod defense. Getting force fields up on those tripods, MC takes out the southern expansion and then focuses on protecting his base. Wave after wave of mammoth tanks and juggernauts try to blast a hole in MC's unified front, but they just keep falling to pieces. Eventually, after throwing every last unit in his arsenal against MC, Unleashed throws in the towel, and all MC had to do was keep that front door closed. An expert win.
Now it's NPH3KT3D versus Dane Freezer on Industrial Strength. NPH goes highly aggro on this one, dropping his MCV, a barracks, a super reactor, and a war factory right outside Freezer's base. This strat works out for him well as he drops his opponent's starting base to the ground. But Frizzer's got an operation on the water, and he manages to sneak a stealth war factory onto NPH's side of the map, taking out his naval yard and then punishing his MCV with Guardian tanks. Akula subs force Frizzer out of the water, but it doesn't matter. NPH is cornered at his aggressive expansion. Once his armada is destroyed and his super reactor goes up in smoke, the game goes to Frizzer.
Troublemaker CNC takes on Total Noob in Small Town, USA. Troublemaker tries to start something with a flame tank rush, but Noob brushes it off. Next up, that Pyro Troublemaker throws down with 2 Reckoners packed with Black Hand. But the attack is extinguished by Noob's Devourers. Frustrated, Trouble pulls out the big guns, a Redeemer, which catches the Skrin attack force, making a play for his Eastern expansion. Though he loses his MCV, Trouble manages to take out the entire Skrin attack force, leaving Noob practically defenseless. So it's time for another Reckoner push, which works! Trouble obliterates the remaining defenses at his enemy's expansion, and the Total Noob throws in the towel.
Latter season favorite Dynamic takes on Vapor on Industrial Strength. This one is all about the finish. Both players go to infantry and eliminate the other's base, but Dynamic stops short and doesn't manage to take out Vapor's refineries. If he weren't messing with the Empire, this wouldn't be an issue, but when he marches his MCV and remaining infantry into Vapor's seemingly undefended base, he comes up against a swarm of harvesters. Some brilliant micro by Vapor leaves Dynamic's MCVs defenseless, and the number 2 player is forced out with a big old GG.
Our top Kane's Wrath match features old favorites Sir Lunchalot and Dackle on Tournament Rift. Both players expand to the center quickly, with Lunchalot's Reaper 17 making his camp first, but some resilient base defense from Dackle pushes Lunchalot south, where he makes a new expansion at the Blue Tip field. Not that it slows him down, Lunchalot quickly gets Storm Raiders in the air and an Eradicator Hexapod on the ground, using Dackle's lack of southern defenses against him. How will Dackle push back? With his own epic unit, a Marv. This beast hits hard but can't finish the job, so Lunchalot hits back with another Hexapod. So Dackle goes with another Marv and another. If this strat is starting to sound redundant, that's because it is. Lunchalot notices and sends leagues of disintegrators to take out the massive tank before clearing out the rest of Dackle's base. Sometimes epic units just aren't enough to pull off the win.
Our number 1 match from Red Alert 3 is a classic Allied Soviet matchup between Supercast and Nuke Strike on Industrial Strength. This half-hour mega match is nothing short of epic. Nuke Strike opens with a Flak Trooper spam while Supercast gets Vindicators in the air. That's 1-0 Nuke Strike. But instead of striking quickly, Nuke waits until Super's got forces on the ground and loses his first attack wave while Supercast sets up shop on the water. That's a tie, folks! And Supercast got Dolphins in the seas to stop Nuke Strike from expanding, which gives him a serious upper hand on resources. This won't help him if he can't shut down Nuke's Akula production, though. So Super sends a massive attack group of Riptides to seal off the water on both sides of the island. So now Supercast holds the water uncontested, while Nuke Strike makes a play for the island with Riptide-proof hammer tanks and twin blades. And it works! Now we're really cooking. Supercast's answer to all this? Aircraft carriers, of course, which take aim at taking out those Soviet resources. But Nuke's managed to finagle a couple of naval yards and comes back hard with an Akula force. Taking care of Super's oceanic force, all that's left is to surface near the Allied base and end this epic back and forth. Nuke Strike takes the game in our number 1 spot on your 10 for this month.
The 10, brought to you by Logitech, makers of the customizable G9X laser mouse.
Wow, that was a lot of Command and Conquer action. I need a breather. Talk amongst yourselves. Joe Coogan is neither a Joe nor a Coogan. Discuss.
Raj Joshi, however, is a Raj, and he's awfully Joshi. Hey, stick around, kids. APOC, Birth of a Unit, and the main event coming up after the break here on BattleCast Primetime.
back to BattleCast Primetime. I'm Raj Joshi with special guest Joe Kucan. Not shy at all. It's time to let our resident community guru in to join the fun. Live from his corner, Aaron Apoc Kaufman. Take it away.
Why do you guys keep him in a corner? Oh.
Welcome back, Commander, to the Corner. I'm Apoc, your official CNC community manager. Now, if you've visited commandandconquer.com recently, you might have noted some significant changes. We've revamped the site to have a whole ton of new info on CNC4, including news, blogs, media, community, Twitter, everything. It's your one-stop shop for all your CNC4 info. Now, you might have also noticed a little button up there called Factions. If that section isn't activated soon, god damn it, I'm going to shave my head.
You lie!
Now let that be a sign that it'll be activated very soon. So we've selected 10 of our favorite names for our Forgotten Gorilla contest, and now it's time for you, community, to head over to commandandconquer.com and vote for your favorite name. The unit name that gets the most votes will become the official name of the Forgotten Gorilla in Command & Conquer 4. Now I'm also proud to announce that once this contest ends, we're going to be starting it all over again with our Mutant Bus. I'm proud to be the first person in the world to reveal this exclusive piece of concept art to you. The Mutant Bus Name That Unit contest will be starting directly after the Forgotten Gorilla contest ends. The one that wins, you'll get instant free early bird access to our Command & Conquer 4 beta. Now, one of my absolute favorite mods, and certainly one of yours for Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars, was a mod called Granite Ball. Ladies and gentlemen, you may or may not know this, but they are porting this Granite Ball 2.0 for Red Alert 3. Granite Ball is a unique mode that puts you in an Unreal FPS RTS style mod right down on the battlefield for Command & Conquer. You'll take your lone grenade soldier and fight in exciting game modes such as Team Deathmatch and Capture the Flag across 23 maps featuring blood, physics, new effects, even 26 new music tracks. You gotta head over to thundermods.net to check it out right now.
You lie!
And for our next mod spotlight, it's your favorite CNC co-community manager, Tupac.
Hey guys, I'd like to spotlight an outstanding Red Alert 3 community map by Alvin titled Infantry Survival. In this map, you use infantry-only forces to achieve points. This is a badass map, it's my kind of map. With these points, you can buy additional units such as MCVs, support powers. You can even get upgraded to have commandos such as Tanya's, Natasha's, Yuriko when you get up to 2,000 points. You can download this developer-approved map as well as many others in my map spotlight, Tupac's Map Madness, every Thursday at commandandconquer.com. If you'd like to have your map showcased, email me at tupac@ea.com.
So for my last call, I'd like to spotlight one of the most amazing CNC fan sites this century. It's called cncmaps.com, and it's headed up by user Thomas Allen and his group of map creating cohorts. These guys have an amazing site where they feature the only best and brightest CNC maps being created out there by you, the CNC community, from every game in the 14-year history of Command & Conquer. So commanders, comrades, everyone, anybody who's interested in creating maps for Command & Conquer, you have to check out cncmaps.com. That's all from my corner this time. Be sure to stay tuned at commandandconquer.com for more news and info on CNC4. Hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/commandandconquer. Thanks to Tupac for spotlighting that map. Back to you, Raj and Kane.
Thanks, Aaron. That part with me, and it was great. Hey, you guys can stay current with Aaron's community affairs between shows by following him on Twitter and add BCPT while you're there.
Now, we know there's been a lot of speculation about the new crawler unit. Well, it's time to push past the rumors and find out what's really going on. Let's take a look at the offensive crawler. Not offensive like Joe, but offensive like offensive. Bringing back a much-loved segment, here's a CNC4 dev team with Birth of a Unit.
Hi, I'm Jason Bender, lead designer of Command & Conquer 4. Today I'm going to be talking about the offense crawler. A major gameplay element of CNC4 is that you're playing on a team. It wasn't long before we realized that having 150 buildings on the field that were getting blown up by a variety of players and knocking certain people out of the match was going to be a problem. So we realized we needed something that could be a compact base, something you could get back into the game with very quickly, and something that really represented you on the battlefield. Thus was born the crawler. It's your base, it's your radar, it's your war factory, it's a heavy combat vehicle, it's your identity on the battlefield. It represents a lot of different things.
Well, I'm a 3D artist. I was responsible for the look and design for the GDI and NOD crawlers. And here is a high-res model of our offensive crawler. It was, since they had to perform a lot of functions, it was important to get them to transform accurately. When they were in vehicle mode, I wanted them to look like a tank that walked. And then when they turned into their structure mode, it was important for me to make it look like a building and not a parked vehicle.
I have to make 2 models and put in 1 textures. I receive a concept which just the 3D models shape of it. So the challenge for me is to come up with the texture on, it's like the skin on that models.
My task on the crawler was to make it come alive. So it was a little bit challenging. My task was to take the crawler after modeling and made sure it could actually transform from unit to structure and vice versa. And also that the procedural destruction that you see featured in the game was working correctly. In CNC4, we wanted to introduce a deeper degree of destruction, try to give to the player a good satisfaction feeling when they manage to destroy one of the larger units. And we wanted to portray the unit being literally destroyed little by little and see the inside of the unit as you destroy it. So we took the larger unit, like the crawler. As the player hits the unit gets literally eviscerated or destroyed, and you can actually see the part coming off and see the inside of the unit and all the guts.
Hi, my name's Aram Granger, and I blow stuff up on CNC4. Really, our direction with the crawler, our art director, Chris Tamburino, said, make it look different. And so I said, okay. And we needed to have some more kind of interior detail to the explosions on this. And we needed to have sort of an inside roiling of the smoke, whereas kind of before in other CNC games, you would see particle sprites just kind of disappear when the particle ended. And I wanted to get some sort of movement in between the particle's birth and its death. The crawler itself, since it's such a big unit, every time it hits on the crawler system, you get a different explosion coming out with different debris, and it will go through its death state. It has a whole another death animation that Umberto did, and then its final explosion, final death. And so that's kind of the big deal about the crawler.
So the crawler functions as not only your base of operations, a large vehicle, but also your war factory and your personality on the field. It's a rallying point for everything you do.
Thanks, fellas. You guys are so cute. Hey, keep tuned in to BattleCast Primetime for more info in the months to come. According to my extensive contract, yeah, that's it for me. I am out of here. I gotta go. But main event commentator Jeremy Fiesel is on deck. Raj, I gotta go. Thanks for the massage, man.
Hey, absolutely. I'm glad we were able to work that kink out of the third lumbar
Looks
there.
good. I can touch my toes now.
Yeah, we don't want to see that. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, Joe.
I know it is.
While we have to say goodbye to Joe, all hope is not lost for the rest of us. That's right, it's time for the main event.
12:30.
It's East meets West in a fierce clan battle. In one corner, Team Alias and its chosen champion, Zero. In the other, the ADT clan's handpicked hero, Muto. With me now is our good friend, Jeremy Fiesel. Welcome back, Jeremy.
Thanks, Raj. It's great to be back on BattleCast Primetime.
Now, Jeremy, since you're here and you've got a brain, tell us a little bit about our two competitors.
So what we're going to be seeing today is an absolute clash of the Titans, East meets West. You've got Muto from the ADT clan. Obviously, this guy is awesome. He made it all the way up to the top in Red Alert 3. This guy was the #1 seed going into the Red Alert 3 championships, came out third, went 2-1 against Technique, who ended up winning the championships. So this guy's obviously not a pushover. If he can beat the tournament champion at least one game, we're going to see some awesome stuff from this guy today. On the other hand, we've got the Westerner. We've got Zero playing for the Alias clan. An awesome player. He's been a huge member of the community for quite some time now. He's very active on the forums and in the multiplayer community. This guy is obviously a pro. He's been playing for a while. He's got a lot of other guys on his team to play against, and he came into the ladder season finals as well as a very high-end player, but at the same time got knocked out in the first single elimination tournament. So what does that actually mean? Well, we're going to be seeing a clash today that we were never able to see in ladder season 3, and it should be awesome.
All right. Well, it's time to put our BattleCast reputations on the line and pick our very own victors. Jeremy, who is your pick of the match?
Well, Raj, honestly, on this one, I'm going to have to go with Muto. This guy is amazing. We saw him in Ladder Season 3 do some absolutely excellent work, and, like I mentioned before, he came in as the #1 seed and just about beat Technique for the championships. Muto all the way, the beast from the East. You can do it, man.
All right, well, as you've chosen the beast from the East, I'm going to have to choose the best of the West. That's right, I'm going with Zero. Zero, I was able to meet a lot of the Alias clan members out in Cologne. Very nice guys, very talented. Zero did come in 12-1 in Ladder Season 3 to only lose to his own clan member, I believe.
That's true.
Or
right.
so sources tell me. So I'm going to go with you, Zero. Do me proud. Do a little bit better than John Reese did at that drinking competition, okie doke. Yes, the stage is set. The respective clan champions have entered the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. Tonight's matchup is between Zero and Muto on Snowplow. Jeremy, would you be kind enough to tell us our starting positions?
I'd love to, Raj. We got Zero playing as the Allies, sort of traditional for the Western player in the north side of Snowplow. And we've got Muto playing as the Empire of the Rising Sun, again, Beast from the East, in the south. Let's get started. Snowplow, a very interesting map for this matchup. So what we're going to see here from our allied player can be really any one of 3 different things. He can go for a multi-gunner turret push in the middle of the map. He can go for a large infantry spam to just send down that very central combat lane and hold that combat lane in the garrisons there. Or he can go directly for air, because his opponent is going to have to read that call and then choose his build order accordingly. And a little bit of this is the early game scouting that really depends on what's going to happen for the rest of the game. So here we're already seeing from Zero a very large number of infantry taking the center of the map. As we mentioned earlier, he's trying to hold ground control in this center map area, and if he's able to do that, he'll be able to push forward with turrets. Turrets on allies obviously very powerful and can be thrown up because they're not built in the world at full health. And at the same time, he's sending that large group of infantry that he used to hold the center of the map, and he's going to send this down to the south now. There we have it. It's an oil derrick owned by the Empire player, and it's looking like he's seen that that oil derrick is owned, and therefore he's going to send his infantry up there, take it out, deny his opponent that economic advantage, and that means that Zero is then going to be at the economic advantage, having the same number of refineries as well as that additional oil derrick. So back at their bases, it looks like we've got very traditional gameplay down here. He's expanded down to the refinery that's just very south of his base. Again, the allied MCV has a very large build area and allowed him to expand down there into the center, and he's pretty safe there because, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, he took that center combat lane with all of those different infantry units. So now he's going to go air, knowing that he has sort of map superiority in the center of the map, and it gives him a chance to start doing those hit and runs that the allied player is always so good at. At the same time, our Empire player has got his war factory up, and he's got a choice here at this point too. He can either try to counter the air by making Tengus, and as you can see, he's already made one of them, or he can try to tech directly up to tier 2, which produces harder counters, but at the same time, he's going to be very vulnerable during that period of time. So he's made more of the Mecha Tengus. That's going to give him a little bit of a better chance to get the air battle going on and win that air fight, and it'll also allow him, as long as he's overcome the air army from Zero, to do some really good hit and runs of Zero's economy. The Zero has put up a second airfield, which means he's going to go for heavy air superiority. He's going to be doing a lot of Apollo strikes and Vindicator bombings. He's probably going to have to wait on going with his war factory and a more standard ground force. He might use that air army to allow him to do that turret push forward. Same time, the Empire player, oh wow, what an amazing maneuver on Zero's end. Wow. The Empire player had his refinery core hit a couple of times. It was about to get it out there to get deployed when it gets destroyed. Zero obviously has amazing map control at this point. He's got 5 different air units. He's flying them all over the place. He can see everything that's going on this map, and he can hit things appropriately, which is exactly what he did right there.
That's very impressive.
So he's going to use this moment, having that grip of choppers, realizing that his opponent, because he had to go all those airfields, doesn't have the best anti-infantry and doesn't even have all the airfields filled out at this point. He's going to try do a little push for the center, and it didn't work because his opponent was able to get up the war factory and get out of Riptide fast enough. Because of the way this map is set up, you can see right here, if you don't have complete control of that center area of the map, your expansion is just going to go straight down. So Muto is in a pretty good place right now. Obviously, he took out a production structure, he took out a refinery, but he's also lost a significant number of units, and because he didn't have that extra oil derrick that Zero has, and Zero was up 1 expansion on him, they're actually even in terms of the amount of economic production that they have right now, except that Zero has pretty much more units at this. I think he's got a really decent number of air units, and he was able to take out all those VXs. So there's nothing to counter this air army from just coming in and taking out those tsunamis one by one. So both of these players sort of kicked back to square one for a second, but at the same time, Muto didn't get any of his investments killed, which means that he is up in the overall metagame.
Yeah, it seems like Zero's been doing a little bit of harassment back at Muto's base, but overall Muto's been keeping Zero pretty busy in the center area.
Yeah, definitely. He's keeping him very busy, and he's also taking out as many of his production structures and unit building structures as possible to set him back in the overall metagame. Those are things that can't be rebuilt immediately. They take time. It takes time to get back up to that level, and that period of time in between where he has effectively less forces or less ability to produce forces, or he's spending all of his economy in creating those structures again, means that he's not creating units, which means that Muto, just by doing these little structure hits over and over and over, is gaining progressively a larger and larger advantage over his opponent, and at a certain point, he's going to have this critical mass of units, which he's getting very close to. Look at that enormous Tengu army, and he'll just be able to roll into his opponent's base and take everything out. The number one thing Muto has to do right now in this game is make absolutely sure that he plays defensively until he has the absolute advantage. And look, that's exactly what he's doing. He kills 2 more air units. Does he rush in? Does he lose all of his things? No. He chills out. He holds back a little bit. He's going to wait for his opponent to walk into his trap and keep throwing units at him, and he will just make a bigger and bigger and bigger advantage as time goes on.
Now, do you think that Zero's really in that bad of shape right now?
So Zero, again, an absolutely amazing player. He can come back from something like this, and I think sending his infantry in here means that he has a pretty high level of confidence in being able to come back from something like this. But at the same time, it's almost feeling like, based on how many units Zero took in there, the fact that he had scouted all of those Tengus already, and the fact that he didn't bring any of his Vindicators, and he only sent a group of infantry against anti-infantry vehicles, I think that was really a desperation maneuver. That was an incredibly bad move on the part of Zero, and that's probably, if he had done what Muto's doing, played defensively at that point, waited for Muto to come to him, he wouldn't have lost all those infantry. He would actually be in a pretty good place right now. But at this point, Zero has almost no units. Muto, again, playing very defensively, he could probably just roll in over Zero at this point after making that huge mistake and getting all those javelins killed. But he's gonna keep chilling out. He's gonna keep playing defensively. So you can see here that all Zero did was put 5 units into that structure there, and he was still able to do a significant amount of damage and push Muto back. The center of the map here really just excellent for pushing back these huge pushes. But at the same time, all of the advantages that we've been talking about, everything that's been going on in this game, has allowed Muto to create this army. And if you look at the cost differential between the 2 armies right now, I mean, just look at how many units are on the field and how much total income that is. Muto has lost so little in this game that his army can literally just walk through the center of the map at this point, and it doesn't matter that IM0 has done everything right in terms of garrisoning and setting up his forces in the middle. He can micromanage his repairs all that he wants, and he absolutely cannot stop this force from Muto. I'm going to call the game for my boy Muto right here, right now. This is GG.
Come on, Zero. Zero, work it out.
All those, the Tengus go up in the air to help protect all of the VXs and take out those 3 Apollos that have been flying out all over the place. Zero's throwing out multi-gunner turrets to take out some of those Tengus. As long as Muto doesn't make a very, very bad mistake at this point, I think he's going to be fine. He's lifted off his chopper VXs. Those do a lot of anti-structure damage, and he's protecting them with the Tengus, which allows him to take out structure after structure after structure. Another thing I want you to notice, see all those little green pluses that are all of those units right now? That means that they're all heroic. You've got 2 heroic tank busters in there, which do an incredible amount of damage. He's going to send in the MCV. Proper tank buster micro can mean that none of your tank busters die. But although I think at this point, Muto, I mean, he's just letting some of his units get run over. He doesn't really even care. He's going to take out this MCV. He's going to win this game.
Muto, I think your nose is itching. Perhaps you have to sneeze right now?
No such luck, Raj. That's the end of the MCV. That's really the end of Zero's production capabilities. He's got 3 refineries still up, but all he has is an airfield and what looks like a barracks that's about to die. And that's GG.
Wow.
Amazing job, Muto. Muto beats Zero in the second of our series of games. Obviously, Muto has shown us that he is a ladder season champion in and of his own right. Great job for both players, though. That was an amazing game to watch, and it was great fun to cast as well.
Absolutely. Great job for both. Zero, very sorry for the loss. Muto, congratulations. That was a lot of fun. Jeremy, what would you say was your play of the game?
Play of the game on this one, I'm really going to have to go with the entirety of Muto's knowledge of the metagame. And I know that's something we don't usually do very often because, damn it, we like seeing Tanya's one-shot aircraft carriers and whatnot. But in this particular case, it was really a finesse maneuver. I mean, this guy knew that his opponent was going to have to play the allied game of hit and run with all of those airfields, and as soon as he saw those 2 airfields, he thought that, wow, my opponent's going all in on hit and run. If I play completely defensively at this point, and I just wait it out and pick him off one by one, eventually I'm going to have the force to roll over the center of the map. And what happened? Muto, you got this one, man. You are the master of the metagame.
Well, the Beast of the East has won, but I am going to give a tip of the hat to the best of the West. Zero, I really loved how you came in with that bombing run very early on, as Muto, I believe, was trying to expand his refinery out into the water. And that was awesome. I mean, it's not often that I actually see a critical moment like that because I have no idea what to look at, but I really enjoyed that.
Zero's map knowledge was second to none on this one. It wasn't until that final mistake with the javelins that I think really sealed the deal between these 2 players.
Well, there you have it. Congratulations to Muto on pulling off the victory. This match was one of 2 between our competitors. If you'd like to see their other match, it's available for download on our website. Until next episode, keep logging on to www.commandandconquer.com for all of the latest CNC news and info. Keep commenting on the show on the forums or by emailing bcpt@ea.com. Remember, we're also on Twitter, that's right, so follow, post, and talk to us there. We love hearing from you guys, so keep it coming. For all of us at BattleCast Primetime, for Jeremy Fiesel, for Joe Coogan, thank you, and we'll see you on the battlefield.